Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Hussein Abdelbagi Akol Agani, Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan. I request protocol to escort His Excellency. I have great pleasure in welcoming His Excellency Hussein Abdelbagi Akol Agani, Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan. I invite him to address the Assembly.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa bihi nasta'in. Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, fellow delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to address the 77th UN General Assembly today on behalf of His Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, the President of the Republic of South Sudan. I wish to congratulate the President-elect, His Excellency Mr. Saba Korossi of Hungary, for being chosen to lead the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The government of South Sudan welcomes its themes of solution through solidarity, sustainability, and science. We stand to support sustainable policies and positive social transformation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we commend the Secretary General for convening Transforming Education Summit, which successfully concluded this week. I'm pleased to report that South Sudan is committed to transform its education system through increasing its budget allocation for education to 17.5% of the national budget. This investment in education will enable us to build more schools and improve teachers' pay, and hence set the country on track to achieving SDG 4 by 2030. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the revitalized peace agreement on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan, signed on 12 September 2018 between the government and the opposition group, ended the internal conflict in South Sudan. The parties are committed to the implementation of the peace agreement, which has improved the security in South Sudan. Owing to relative peace, the internally displaced and refugees have been voluntarily returning home. Although more formal reintegration remains a challenge due to limited resources. However, the government is doing whatever is possible to resettle the internal displaced persons and refugees. On the same note, I'm pleased to inform you that the command structure of National Unified Forces had been established. This is a major leap toward transformation and regularization of forces. Since the unification of the command structure in April 2022, there has been this escalation in clashes between South Sudan People Defense Forces and the SPLA-IO. In addition, the graduation of the first batch of 53,000 National Armed Unified Forces was successfully graduated on the 30th of August 2022. I am equally pleased to inform you that the parties to the agreement have agreed on a roadmap to complete remaining tasks in the peace agreement, which will pave way for a peaceful, fair, and credible election at the end of transitional period in 2025. Fellow delegates, ladies and gentlemen, through the thoughtful and targeted action, South Sudan has been able to contain the spread of COVID-19. The health effect of the pandemic in South Sudan has been surprisingly less pronounced than expected. more by the very low morbidity and fatality rates. As of 9 May 2022, only 17,513 confirmed COVID cases, including 138 deaths, have been reported since the start of pandemic. The current vaccination campaign continues to be effective with a coverage of 45% entire population over the age of 18. Excellencies, despite this positive health news, the pandemic had negative effect on the economy, starting with the dramatic decline in domestic production and revenue collection, followed by a rising cost of living. These economic consequences are far-reaching, severely weakening. For example, human capital formation, especially in education, as the lockdown deprived school-age children of learning opportunities. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, in April 2016, South Sudan ratified the Paris Agreement that seeks to solidify a global response to the threat of climate change by keeping global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius. South Sudan has strategized to build on nature-based solutions, green infrastructure, and foster socio-economic recovery pathways centered on the climate change and national disaster. Recently, it became evident to us that the climate change is a real. The impact of climate change and the global warming has seen and manifested in the various parts of South Sudan. 70 to 80% of South Sudan has been affected by flood for the last 3 years in a row. Excellencies, the government of South Sudan, in its analysis of food insecurity between the period of February to March 2022, estimated 6.83 million people, 55.3% of the population, are facing acute food insecurity. 2.437 million are on emergency level. The severe food insecurity is worsening by combining of shock, including flooding, prolonged drought, physical insecurity, and the effect of COVID-19. Excellencies, South Sudan is surrounded by the countries afflicted by conflict. As a part of obligation to promote peace and stability in the region and beyond, South Sudan successfully mediated the armed conflict in Sudan, which resulted into the signing of peace agreement in Juba 2020. South Sudan stands ready to mediate the current conflict between the arms and the forces of freedom and change in Sudan, so that Sudan can finally enjoy lasting peace. Recently, South Sudan also offered to mediate tension between Egypt and Ethiopia over the disagreement for the construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. We further demonstrated willingness to mediate the internal conflict in Ethiopia between the Ethiopian government and the people and the tribe and Tigray People Liberation Forces. The Republic of South Sudan, furthermore, availed itself ready to mediate border issues between the Republic of Sudan and the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. By participating in bringing regional peace and stability, South Sudan has demonstrated its ability as a reliable partner in quest for the region and international peace and security. Further, the Republic of South Sudan is contributing 1 battalion of peacekeeping forces to be part of the East Africa forces to bring peace in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The current war between Russia and Ukraine is unfortunate and is devastating to the lives and livelihood of the citizens of both countries and beyond. The war has led to a severe humanitarian crisis where millions are in dire need. This war has not only affected the two warring parties, but it has far-reaching effect on global economic. For from the moral point of view, South Sudan government is calling on Russia and Ukraine to cease all forms of hostilities and resolve the dispute through diplomatic and constructive dialogue to avoid further consequences. Excellencies, the government of South Sudan appreciates the critical humanitarian and technical support by member states in this forum, and it looks forward to its continuation. To mitigate effect of flooding on the population and livelihood, South Sudan is donating $10 million to the WFP to alleviate the suffering of the affected displaced communities. However, we need the support of the international community to reach all the floods and drought affected areas and communities. The President of the Republic of South Sudan will call a conference of all humanitarian organizations in South Sudan to coordinate humanitarian activities. The government of South Sudan is committed to providing security and protection to the relief workers. Together, we can save our planet by playing our roles and by supporting each other to mitigate effect of climate change and to come up with alternative methods and solutions based on available protocol. Finally, the implementation process of the revitalized peace agreement is facing numerous challenges, and sanctions imposed by international partners on individuals and entities are deserve of this cause. As we make progress in implementation of the revitalized peace agreement on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan, we are calling upon international community and UN in particular to revise individual and targeted sanction, arm embargo imposed on South Sudan to enable successful completion of remaining provision of the peace agreement outlined in the new roadmap. Thank you.